The newest entry in the Devil May Cry franchise, Devil May Cry 5, has sold a whopping 10 million units, which sounds like a lot, and well, it is, but let's compare it to some other games also from 2019. Sekiro, 10 million units. Resident Evil 2, 14 million. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, 6.5. Mortal Kombat 11, 15 mil. You ask anyone that's played a real game, not like, you know, FIFA or Apex Legends or some shit like that, they'll recognize these names. Drop a Mortal Kombat or a Resident Evil in day-to-day conversation, and most people are gonna know what you're on about. I swear whenever I've brought up this game, nobody knows what the fuck it is. Some people pretend they've heard of it, others are more truthful and just outright tell me, you know, like, oh, no, never heard of it. Which I think is a damn shame, because these games are great. There is no place better to start than the third entry in the franchise. I'll get to these two eventually. Devil May Cry 3 chronologically takes place before the first two anyway, and like myself, I imagine it was a lot of people's introduction to the franchise. Probably not actually, not everyone's like old and withering like I am. This game came out early 2005, right at the end of PlayStation 2's life cycle. Considering the hardware, the PS2, whilst it was the best console of the 6th generation, it was the weakest, so considering the hardware, this game looks pretty damn good, and it plays pretty damn good too, so let's talk about it already. To the untrained eye, this may seem as though it's a hack and slash. That is a huge disservice to this franchise, which practically coined the character action genre, often characterized by expressive combat systems that reward stylish, lengthy combos, skill-based progression as opposed to something like traditional RPG-esque progression, and all the other character action games that came to follow would mimic DMC's footing of ridiculous over-the-top cutscenes. But back to the ridiculous over-the-top combat. Your aim is to blaze through these linear structured missions, defeat a set amount of enemies, make your way through these gorgeous gothic set pieces. Defeating all these enemies with fluidity, variety, and grace bumps up your style meter. Man, is it addicting watching it slowly creep up to triple S. At the end of select missions, you'll encounter another noteworthy demon. Upon defeating them, you basically steal their soul and wield it as a devil arm. The giant Cerberus you defeat is turned into this triple nunchuck thing. These two guards are turned into these twin blades. The structure of the game is pretty simple. It's essentially a tiny bit of puzzle solving. Occasionally, you'll pick up an item and have to backtrack to a previously encountered area to douse a magic fire or, you know, unlock a previously locked door, which is cool. It's that sort of Metroidvania kind of structure. There is one really peculiar part of the game. You'll pick up this key item here, which allows you to walk up these invisible steps. Now, they're currently invisible because they collapsed at the start of the mission. Who in their right mind is going to try and walk up this thing they just fell right down not even 10 minutes ago? This is the only example of a semi-like cryptic puzzle solution in this game, but it's so early on, I imagine it put off like a noteworthy percentage of people trying the game out years ago. Thankfully, 90% of this game is just killing enemies. This game focuses on its strength, which is absolutely its combat. There's just a weight to every sword thrust, every nunchuck slam. These funky things, pop them with the shotgun, turn them to stone, and then shatter them with the sword. It's all so fucking good. 90% of it. There are a few enemy types which are just obnoxious. These flying cunts just avoid you or, you know, clip out of bounds. Some enemies just have too much health, which of course is annoying. The bosses though are all amazing in their own way. I say that like a proud mother, but you know, not every child can be a winner. Cerberus, solid first real boss, cool design and fair telegraphed moveset. Centipede thingy, boring and monotonous. Not everyone can be a winner. Twin guards, hell yeah. Virgil 1, hell fucking yeah. Leviathan, hell fucking meh. It's okay, honestly. I mean, the gimmick is fine, but gets a bit annoying on higher difficulties. It just takes so fucking long. Navan, surprisingly difficult. She'll thieve massive chunks of your health bar if you rush in. Gotta respect the patterns and chip away at her from a distance. Beowulf, fun, fairly straightforward, another excellent character design. Virgil 2, epic, higher stakes. Don't worry, I will talk about this a little bit later on in a little bit more depth. Geryon, first phase is dumb, but second phase, which is most of the fight, is kind of cool. The time stop and stuff. Lady, baby, I don't want to hurt you.
Stop running away and just let it happen.
Arkham, fuck your stupid little cunty worms. The saving grace of this fight is obviously that you get to play as both Dante and Virgil, simultaneously controlling them to double team this unholy glob of satanic Play-Doh, you big fucking dude. Virgil 3, top 5 bosses of all time of any video game. Non-negotiable. Yet again, I will speak about this in depth in just a little while. Not to brag, but I have beaten this game on Dante Must Die mode. And yeah, it's pretty fucking unforgiving most of the time, but easy and normal are perfectly fine ways of playing this game. A lot of the clips used in here is just me beaming through the game with Super Dante on easy mode anyway, because I've played this game so many fucking times and I just wanted to get these clips quickly. It's fun being both the nail and the hammer in this game because, like I've said earlier, the combat is just plain fun. You can experiment with different combinations of melee and ranged weapons. They all bring their own little nuanced combos to the table. The most recent version of DMC3 is the Switch port, and technically, this is objectively the best version of the game. More content and the freestyle mode. Now, on top of the variety of weapons you get to choose from, you also get to choose from 6 different styles. Trickster is focused on movement and evasion. Royal Guard is pure defense, like perfect blocking and shit like that. Gunslinger is just more ranged options. Quicksilver, you can pause time for a little bit. Doppelganger, you can clone yourself for a short period. The undeniable winner is Swordmaster, which basically gives you 3 new moves for every single melee weapon in the game, and your melee weapons are going to make up for about 95% of the damage you do in this game, so ergo, Swordmaster is the best style, in my opinion. The aforementioned freestyle mode in the Switch port lets you freely switch between all 6 of these modes, as well as every single weapon. In the regular game, you can only hold 2 melee, 2 ranged, and use 1 style at any given time. So technically the Switch version is the best version of the game, strangely enough, but you can't really dock points from the original because it's still just so good, even in this slightly more restrictive state. Undeniably, the most memorable part of this game, and well, the franchise as a whole, is the lead, Dante. His bombastic personality shines through, cuts through the dark even with his charisma. Every cutscene in this game is on point. The motion capture, the choreography, just the overall presentation is top fucking notch for a PS2 game. The voice acting's pretty good too. It's very like anime dub-y, you know, like cheesy and over the top, but the whole game is so, you know, if the boot fits. I'll tell you something though, you want a masterclass in visual and general storytelling, play this fucking game please. There is layered foreshadowing, there is dialogue so striking in this game, it hits you like a brick sometimes. It does a lot with a little, you know what I mean? 2 cutscenes per mission stitch everything together so perfectly. It's not bloated and it doesn't overdo it with like a ginormous cast of characters. It's a story of brotherly rivalry, a lust for power, a man, a father, driven crazy chasing demonic strength, a grieving daughter seeking revenge. Amidst it all, we have Dante, who seems so careless and nonchalant at most junctures, but when his character is tested, it's shown that he's a good man. So much so, he changes ladies' preconceived notions.
That filthy scum is my father.
Well, we have something in common. I have a dysfunctional family too.
And what would you know about family? You're a demon. This is my father. My family. This was all supposed to end by my hand.
Every encounter he has with her, he slowly wears down her tough exterior. Every encounter he has with his brother just seems to rile the 2 of them up more. But you can't help but love Virgil, he's just such a fucking badass. Dante's playstyle is all about just going as nuts as you possibly can, flipping around, juggling enemies in the air. Playing as Virgil is all about elegance and timing. Every time you fight him, he just gets stronger and stronger, and to this day, Virgil's 3rd fight is one of the hardest bosses I have ever done. All 3 of the Virgil fights in this game are some of the best designed bosses I have ever seen in any game. First fight is the first boss in the game that you can't just brute force through with luck. You need to learn his patterns and see what works. His second fight, the stakes are raised both gameplay wise and narratively. Plus, Dante lost the first duel canonically, so you're really itching for revenge here. There's more emotional weight to it all. Plus, it's just a cooler fight now he has the Beowulf gloves and boots. And the third fight, which is genuinely one of the best climaxes in any video game story. This final boss is utterly relentless. The cutscene that follows slides the knife in your back and tears your heart out. The severing of the familial bond, him casting himself into the demon world. It's just a lot, man. The conclusion of Lady's arc, Arkham meeting his demise, and the ending.
Are you crying?
It's only the rain.
The rain already stopped.
Devils never cry.
I see. Maybe somewhere out there, even a devil may cry when he loses a loved one. Don't you think?
This game perfectly knits itself to the start of the first, so I can respect a prequel for being a good prequel, but spoiler alert, Devil May Cry 3 is the best of the original trilogy. And it may have been surpassed in terms of gameplay, but in my opinion it has the absolute best story in the franchise as a whole. Devil May Cry 3's story stacks up against some of the best video game stories across all generations, across all genres. There are no flaws, there is no stone left unturned. It takes risks balancing its tone, both in terms of its cutscenes and just the general feel of the game while you're actually playing it. And it hits such a perfectly fine-tuned sweet spot between charming, outlandish thriller and low-down, dark, grim angst. It's a genuinely masterfully crafted story. The game itself, like the gameplay, has a few flaws, yes. Some of the missions can feel a little bit repetitive, especially on repeat playthroughs, which I should know. I've just beaten the game 4 times back to back to thoroughly review this game. Some enemies, as I mentioned, are just annoying to fight. Most aren't, but those select few that are annoying are really annoying. The boss rush mission, most people probably wouldn't like. Most of the time I'm actually a fan of boss rush sections in games, so it doesn't bother me personally. That being said, not every boss is a 10 out of 10, but like even modern games don't have that. That's a challenge for you actually. Comment a single game where every single boss is a 10 out of 10.
I'll be waiting.
This game that came out 20 years ago, still by modern standards, has excellent boss designs, excellent enemy designs, great world building, and especially the atmosphere. I wish more people loved this franchise as I do, and I especially wish more people loved this game specifically because the story is brilliant. I get the game's old, I get the graphics aren't exactly 10 out of 10 by modern standards, but if you don't mind the age marks, I can't recommend this game more. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.